So references, I can't say that there's a minimum amount of images that you need to have or a maximum amount. I think before you start any design, you absolutely have to do some research to take a look at what has been done before, what do particular parts of your design look like in real world, or what they can potentially look like. So you do that research just to educate yourself about the topic a little bit. And as you can see, these are all the images that I'm using to reference this gun. So it's not just side view and front view, profile and face. It's a little more than that, even down to the view of this gun disassembled. And this is where you can also get the idea about how modular it is, because if you model the barrel separately, the grip separately, the Picatinny rail or any kind of mount, you're just going to end up having these separate components like the spring, whatever, that you will be able to reuse later. And that's the beauty of modular approach. It's sort of like kit bashing, where you're just going to take this gun and reuse it. But this gives me a good idea of how to approach the modeling and where all of the cut lines and the actual separation is happening. But of course, one of the most important views for this particular rifle is like trying to understand what kind of profile are we having here, how do we sweep it, and for that purpose, this image was probably one of the most useful ones. Almost literally gives us the profile, and this is what we're going to use. We're not going to worry about all the internal detail because never really going to see it. We're talking about getting to that final design as quick as possible, because we're talking about concept art. It's not for production, not for manufacturing. Kind of views like these, this one, and where was the other one? And this. So these two, just a side view that gives you an understanding of general proportion, the relation between the parts and components. This is pretty much all you need, but a lot of time you just need to find something that explains the area that you don't quite understand. Like, this is the configuration we're more than likely going with, because we're going to mount the reflex sight scope there. And it's just good to have the reference from all kinds of views. And whenever, of course, like every project that I do, I try to organize it. And if I have any kinds of close-up details like this is just something that you need to look, if you want to be a hard surface designer, this enriches your visual library, the library that you have in your brain. Because once you saw something like this, next time you're trying to come up with some surface detail, and it's on a weapon, something like this will come up. The more you encounter, details like that, the better. Because if you've never seen, like, the rule is, if you've never seen it, you will never be able to add this to your design. And on the other hand, if you're adding something completely from imagination, that's never really completely from imagination. You're always referencing something, like to 10% referencing or 90% referencing, but nothing comes from thin air. So this might as well be coming from the real world. So like this is basically the way to add complexity as well. Several modules added, but all of them are happening on the business end of the gun. This is why this design is working. This is why it looks successful. So that was just a quick word about referencing, because regardless of how big or small your project is, I feel like it's a necessary step to make your design successful.